Welcome to TechMan. This video is a recording of a live webinar, so you may hear references to live questions or features as they appeared at the time. With that in mind, let's dive in.
So when we go on the personnel drop down, the first thing that we see is the all personnel, which is this section here. Now this is one of our demo systems, which is why they're just the text there, but obviously on yours you'll have all of your technician names and also the states available as well. Obviously that is system depending, but they'll have all of the states on there and holiday count if you have an advanced or a pro system. So the first thing that we'll do actually is just go through how to create a personnel, which is beneficial for anyone using TechMan on any one of the systems, whether that be a light, an advanced, or a pro system that you might be on. So I'll just hit a plus button here. Just whilst that's loading, if you guys do have any questions at all throughout the webinar, whether it be on personnel or on the system as a whole, please put them in and we can get them answered. And if not on here, we can add a support call, add a support ticket and get them answered on there. So when you hit that plus button in all personnel, it will bring you to this section. Now the site, this only really matters if you're on a multi-site, but you always need to select the site anyway, but it only matters really to be specific if you're on a multi-site. So we're on the design demo. If you don't quite know what site you're on, if you're ever on a multi-site, then up here in the top right, it will show you. So you just hit design demo, and that'll be the correct site. But as I say, as long as the site there and there is matching, then you'll be all good for this technician. If you have got multi-sites, by the way, and you've got a technician that might work at both sites throughout the week or both sites ever, then it is important you have to put that technician in both of them. So they can't have one account for every single site. It would have to be a different one per site on there. So we'll just create a generic name on there. Perfect. So first and last name is obviously very self-explanatory. The login number. Now I'll just create a new window for this one, because we often say that login numbers, just to obviously keep it easy, should really be numerical. So obviously you've got 01, 02, 03, 04, 05. So I'm just gonna put in 06, and then to make it quite easy. Now, upon your TechMan system creations, we don't create pins, so we'll only put in a first and last name and also a login number. So if you want to add an extra layer of security on there and put a pin in, that's absolutely fine. Again, we often say kind of keep maybe similar to the login number just for ease purposes, or if you've got numerical things, kind of go like that. So I might do that, and it's a 4-digit pin as well in there. Perfect. And as we go through, obviously all of the sections on here are default as ticked. Now you can go and untick them. They're very much garage's prerogative if you want these ticked or not. They are defaulted as ticked, as we feel that's probably the best, but you can always go and untick any that you feel isn't needed for this technician, or if it isn't ticked, then you can go and tick it if it is needed. Obviously this one, if you're on a pro, is very important, showing current state, so we'll tick that as well, as this demo system is designed for more of the pro side. Now, just to go through a couple of things, if you want to put their hourly rate on there, then that's quite self-explanatory if you put that in there. Allowed dashboard check-in on mobile devices as well. Again, quite self-explanatory, but if you are on a mobile, then you just click that to enable, and then they can use it on their mobile. Obviously we've got that ticked because if you don't have tablets and technicians are working off their mobiles, then that's obviously very beneficial to have on there. Including in the efficiency report as well. Now I will go through what the efficiency report is later on. However, I would say that this is very important to have on there, as the efficiency report, as I said, we'll go through later on, but it does give a lot of really helpful statistics of what technicians are doing, as well as if you guys have any bonus schemes, or however kind of you work out any commission or bonus for technicians as well. The efficiency report is the best report to use for that very thing. And then to show on calendar, if I go into the dashboard, which the webinar a couple of weeks ago was on, if you need any help on that dashboard, that's a really good webinar for that. Go onto the calendar here, Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3, Tech 4, Tech 5. Obviously, I've not saved the one I've created yet, but when I do, he is ticked to show on that calendar, so he'll go on there. And also, just on that, when I go back here, if you want the order of people to change on calendar, maybe if you have two MOT technicians and you want them to be together, for example, what you can do is do the drag and drop here. So my OCD is really not going to like this because we're going to change the order of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But if you go up there, you can just drag and drop with those 3 dots, and then it puts the technician you've dragged and dropped into whichever section you want them on, and then that will have saved. So if I then go back to dashboard and then onto the calendar, then Tech 3 is now the first technician in order from left to right on the calendar. That was just a little side note in case any of you are looking to do that. Obviously, I'll put that back into where it belongs, just there. So back to obviously the creation of this technician. Now, there are just a couple of tech view settings as well. If obviously they're quite self-explanatory. If you want to tick those, you absolutely can. And then here are the hours, and the hours here they auto-generate onto the dashboard's booked column as well. So any hours here will go onto the available hours, the work in progress hours as well, and also the other stuff on the booked column. So say if Lee was to come in at 9 and leave at 5 every day. Now you can also put their break hours in too. So if I put 0.5, which would be a half-an-hour break, and then auto checkout time. Now the really good thing about an auto checkout time, obviously things can get stressful in the workshop. People could be in a rush to get home if they've worked a little bit later, and they could forget to check out. Now an auto checkout time is kind of a safety buffer. If someone's meant to check out at 5 every day, then they will auto check out at 5 if they forget to at the end of the day. But what is good is that if someone's auto checkout time is 5, they're working a little bit over on the job and they check out at maybe 7 minutes past 5, that will overwrite the auto checkout time. So if someone checks out later than the auto checkout time, then they'll be checked out on the states and on the report as 5:07, not 5 o'clock. So the actual, if someone clicks checkout, that will override the auto checkout time. Now, if you want to save yourself a little bit of time, once you've edited the hours in here, you can copy that to the whole week, and then once it loads, it will copy to the whole week. The only thing to remember is, I'm sure no one works on Sundays, and I know some of our garages do work Saturdays, but not all of them. It does copy to the whole 7-day week, so just remember that when you've clicked copy to the whole week, to just edit these as I'm doing now, take the breaks out, and then like that, and then click save. So that is forgotten what I've called him now. I think it was Lee. That's Lee's technician profile and details all set in the system. Apologies, we're having a couple of Wi-Fi issues. I'm not on all the bars at the moment. As I'm sure you can appreciate, a company like ours, everyone's on the computer at once at the moment. So if I hit now manage personnel, what that will do, it will show Lee Smith in there, and it will also show him, if I just go onto the dashboard calendar as well, it will show him in there, or it should show him in there. There we go. There we go. And what you guys may have seen is that when I set him to 5, that his time on the calendar, you're not able to book him until after 5 o'clock, which is why it's grayed out here. Now, any technician at their clock out times, that'll be when it's grayed out to. So Tech 1, working till 8, you can book them in until 7:59. So that's, again, a really good thing that merges or marries up with probably what I should say, the personnel section and the dashboard calendar section on there. Now, just going through a couple more things. Obviously, you can see the holiday count here. I'll go through personal holidays in about 5 minutes time, how to book that in and see that in the personal holidays. But this is a quick way of seeing how many holidays someone has. So say if you have a 20-day holiday limit per year, Tech 1 has taken 5 days, so you can obviously quickly work out that 15 days left to take. But I'll just go through how you can put those holidays in, how you can also make them very specific as well. Say if a technician wants to do a half day or even a quarter of a day, that can be registered on the TechMan system. But I'll just go through that in order. So the next thing I'll go through is managed states, which is, so when you're on a pro system, it's the state that a technician will log onto when they're doing different things in the system. So the most common one would be check-in, or checked in rather, and then maybe break or work in progress. Now, if someone does a work in progress state, it will automatically put that job in a work in progress as well. So again, another thing that marries this the personnel section with the dashboard and the work in progress section on the dashboard, to make that a bit more user friendly and efficient for you guys as TechMan users. But what you're able to do is, if you don't want any of your technicians, for example, to click the open workshop, for example, you can go on there, you can edit it, and then you can untick enabled, which will just disable it. There's also a couple of other things you can put on different states as well, so you can really personalize what that state means and what technicians are able to use it, because if you disable all of that, then it won't come up on any technicians options of selecting that state. Now, on the personnel states, which is quite similar to the managed states, you can see what each individual personnel has. So if you wanted to disable the open workshop, I think it was called open workshop, let's just check. Yeah, open workshop for everyone, then that would be done in managed states, and then in the edit section in here. But if you wanted to disable something for just one technician, that's done in the personnel states. And what you can do, you can select a personnel. So actually, I'll select Lee. So none of his states are actually selected at the moment. So I can select all, and then obviously select all. But if for whatever reason I didn't want him to be able to select open workshop, then I can save that, and then everyone else in the workshop, in the garage, will be able to click open workshop, but Lee wouldn't be able to. So this is really good. Obviously, people could be of different levels, and maybe you might have a manager in the workshop as well, obviously depending on how big the workshop is, or other end of the scale, if you have an apprentice, you might not want them to be able to select everything. So it's just things like that, adding in there. You can also add a new state as well, so just the description, enable it if you want it on the efficiency reporting side of things as well, and then just click save. So I could say MOT in progress. MOT in progress, enable that. I hit save on there, then I'll just, my apologies. There we go, and MOT in progress is there. Again, if you had 2 MOT testers and then 4 other technicians, the 4 other technicians probably wouldn't need the MOT in progress state in there. So if for example, Lee wasn't an MOT tester, I could, haven't actually selected it for him yet, so I could leave it unselected. And then if Tech 1 was an MOT tester, I'll select that, save it. So it really tailors each individual technician on there. Again, if any other questions arise from what I'm talking about that you want clarifying or petering out a bit more, then please let me know in the Q&A section up top. Now, I know I said I'd go through personal holidays, which is the next part of that personnel section. Now, the way to do this, firstly on this section, it does give you just an overview list of who's had what holiday, when, what type it's been, if it's been sick, annual leave, anything like that, and reasons on there as well. So Tech 4 was lucky enough to go to the Oasis reunion earlier this year, and just other things like that. Now, if someone has booked a holiday and then doesn't do it for whatever reason, you can just delete it, or if they have a holiday that's booked for 3 days but they actually only now need 2, you can then edit that down as well. But what we'll do, we'll just book a holiday in for Lee, and on here. So we'll book a holiday in for Lee and give him the week off at Christmas. So if we do the 22nd to the 26th of Christmas. So say though, if I'll just do an annual leave, then a reason, Xmas holiday. was holiday. There we go. And then you can put any notes in there that you want to as well, for whatever reason. Now, if you wanted it to be half a day, that's absolutely fine. You can just click half a day, and it would give him, I think that would be about 3.5 days. But if Lee, for example, needed to be off at, say, 10:30, but he wanted to get a couple of jobs in and was able to get some jobs in, say if he started work at 8 and wanted to stop at 10:30, then that would be 2.5 hours of work that he did. So you could always book it in for a 10:30. Actually, let's say 11 because I know he's meant to be in from 9. We save that, and then if we go to manage personnel, that's for lots of holiday booked in for Lee. Now, if it was a half day, it would say 3.5 or 4.5. So it's really good as well for working out the specific counts. If it is half a day, then someone will come in 4.5. I'll just see if I show you that on Lee's as well. So we did half a day. There we go. It's now put in, I didn't select the date, but it's put in 0.5. So that does show that that it would be a 0.5 if it is half a day. Just on that, I hadn't reselected the date, so that's why it's only 0.5. But it still shows you all the same that when it's a half day, it would give a 0.5. So it allows the technicians to be quite flexible with what holidays on there that they take. And then if all has gone to plan, then that should show. There we go. Lee is on holiday from the 22nd to the 26th of December. Now I'll just delete that out of our system, just if anyone's doing any testing in here right now. But that's now deleted. So you know, Lee's decided he doesn't want to have all the days off. He just wants the bank holidays off. We've deleted that for him, so he has his full 20-day allocation back on the TechMan system. Now, if I go down to current states, which is the 5th section of the personnel section on TechMan, this is really great for seeing where someone is in a job specifically right now. So I can look over my shoulder and see that different technicians are in different parts, are on different jobs in the garage, but I might not know where they are at with their job, if they've just started, if they're near the finish, and also if they may be going a little bit overtime. So what this allows you to do is see when they started and the progress that they've made. Now, obviously, as I've said, this is a demo system, so it's not an actual live system, so no one has been in the job for 183 days, but that just means they haven't clocked off or got an auto clock off check-in, an auto clock off time, sorry. But it has showed me that that's how long they've been in the job for. So if someone has maybe been in a job a bit longer than you think, or you didn't know that they changed to a different job, so you think, oh, they're in this job too long, and then realize, oh no, they've actually changed, it will show you how long they've been in and also when they started. The reason it's also good to see when they started, they could have gone on a break, maybe lunch, so they've only been in the job for actually half an hour, but they could have started an hour and a half ago if they've got an hour for lunch. So that's why those two sections are there. So the progress is probably a bit more important to see exactly what they're doing at that specific time on the system. Now, this is also the same. If I just go onto the dashboard as well, that's exactly the same list as this technician column here, just laid out a little differently. And on this technician column, you can see the vehicle and the job number that they're working on as well. Whereas on this list, on this list, you can as well. My apologies. So it's obviously a different way to see it. This is a bit more just in a list kind of spreadsheet formation, whereas this has a little bit more of a different layout, but both of them tell you the same thing. So whatever you kind of prefer to look at, if it would be this on the dashboard, if it's more of a workbook spreadsheet format that you kind of work with and like to see more, then this section, the current state section in personnel, is really good for seeing where your technicians are at an accurate time. Now, this is only available in the Pro system. I know some of you might have the Lite in advance, but if you like the look of this and think that this would work really well in your system, then it would be on the Pro if you would be interested in upgrading at all to one of those systems in the future. Now, the last thing we'll go through on the personnel is just the state editing, and that's if a technician, if you haven't got like the auto check off time on, if a technician has forgotten to check out or even forgotten to check into a job for whatever reason that might be, you can manually edit their state. So it's a bit of a backup to obviously get the technicians accurate again. So say obviously Lee started today, you can't actually do it for the present day. So if we do it for the day before, so you can edit the start time, edit the end time, and then often it would be a checked out state because it will be a finished state. There may be the odd reason why it might be on something else, but usually it would be on the checked out state, and then you can add the job number in as well. A bit like the stock management in the product section, where you can manually edit stock if ever there's a discrepancy, if ever there's a user error for whatever reason. The state editing, like the stock management, is just a backup where you can manually do something to make everything all kind of correct and right in the system. Now, on the personnel section, that's all I'll kind of go through on the personnel section. Obviously, that is the whole personnel section in the drop down. Again, please put any questions in the Q&A if you want me to refresh anything or ask any questions on what I spoke about. What I will just go through is some of the personnel reports that the data in this personnel section is generated from, and is really helpful for, as I said, maybe bonus structures, seeing what technicians are doing. If you have, I say a roll call, if you want to know their attendance to kind of the exact amount on the TechMan system, then some of these reports are really good for that as well. So if you hit reports and then scroll down to personnel reports, then you have first report we'll go through is the attendance report. Now this is quite self-explanatory. It just shows the literal attendance of any of the technicians in the system. So you're able to, it just has every technician down there, and what you can do is see how many hours total they attended on every day. If they had an absence, how many hours of absence, and it's effectively like a register, just a log of all of their check-in time all totaled up, their breaks all totaled up, and then the hours minus the breaks as well. So this column would be how long they were in the garage for, how many breaks they had, and then how long they were kind of on jobs for as well. Another report which is really quite good for a few different reasons actually within the report is the efficiency report. So I appreciate, obviously, this being a demo system, there isn't actually any data in this report. But what this does is it shows you every kind of thing that the technician has done in the system for the time selected. So to obviously make a bit more sense on that, the time attended will be how many hours of time throughout the week that they were on jobs. And the productive hours would be how many hours in the week that they were working on jobs. So that's kind of hours in state, we say. Now that will go towards the productive efficiency section on here. So an easy way of kind of saying that is the product efficiency will be a percentage. If someone has been allocated an hour for every job and they took an hour for every job, their percentage will be 100%. If they were allocated an hour for every job and took 55 minutes for every job, math isn't great, but it might be around 110, 112%. And if they went over at all, then it would be less. Now, obviously, garage discretion might be a thing here. If a job was meant to take an hour and something was uncovered that obviously was a much bigger fix and took longer, then obviously their efficiency would go down because the TechMan system is very specific in the detail it uses. However, you guys might know that in real life and in situ, there was a reason for them taking a lot longer on that job. The really good thing though, which also helps a lot of garages to really see how technicians' times can be utilised in better ways to make maybe more profit for the garage, or just to have a bit more of a productive day, is the unproductive hours. So you can see how long a technician is in, and their productive efficiency might be really, really high. But if they have been in for 40 hours a week, but only actually had productive hours of 20, then that's 20 hours that they have been unproductive, and that will show in here. So someone's productive efficiency could be great if they have one job a day and have done it on time, but the unproductive hours maybe shows a bit more of a whole story, because they actually could have had 6 hours of a working day where they weren't on a job on a vehicle, for example. So it's a really good way of seeing how many hours may be available to technicians, how you might want to, I don't know, pro rata something, or give that technician another job within the garage to obviously utilize the time that they are in every day, maybe make it more beneficial for you guys, not just profitability wise, but also even if it was just cleaning the garage, stuff that makes things a lot more seamless in terms of the day-to-day goings on that are at the garage. So that's what the personnel efficiency report gives you. I appreciate, obviously it's a little bit harder to explain with no data on here, but if you guys are on pro systems, you'll be able to go onto your personnel efficiency, and there is column descriptions in here as well, which you read. You may have actually been reading whilst I've been explaining, and it really does break down every single thing, and it can make some garages think, especially with the unproductive hours, wow, we could be getting a lot more out of our technicians. And the productive hours will show that when they're given a job, they're working really hard, but we could give them maybe a little bit more. And just in the odd case, it could show that someone might need, for whatever reason, just to work a bit harder if their productive efficiency is very low, and obviously nothing's gone wrong on those jobs. So it's also a good way for maybe just keeping track of stuff like that as well. But I know some of our garages also use it for like bonus structures. If someone's efficiency is at 110% and they're getting jobs turned over a lot more quickly, then that can also be rewarded from this section as well. So there were the two reports that I was going to go through. Obviously, there's a couple more on the personnel reports to go through. Obviously, the state record it shows you when people have been on each individual state as well. So the ones that we went through, like open workshop rates, work in progress, that will show you a big breakdown of literally, like, if it was 1.2 hours, 0.6 hours, things like that. So just in terms of the personnel section, I'll just do a quick recap of what we went through. I know webinars usually about half an hour. We're coming up to about 20 minutes, so I don't want to keep you guys any longer. But if you need any more questions answering, please put them in the Q&A box. So today we went through the personnel section, how to create a personnel. Obviously, we created Lee in here. Now, I actually know I was asked not to add too many things on this demo system at the moment. So what I'll do, I'll actually disable Lee as a user, as a technician. Sorry. So this is another way another benefit of this personnel section. You're able to disable the user. Say, if someone leaves the business for whatever reason, you can untick enabled. You can click save. And then they won't be able to have access on their tech view at all. So it's just a way of, for whatever reason, if someone leaves, to have that safety barrier of knowing they won't be able to get back onto the system for whatever reason. So if you just untick enabled there, then he'll be taken off fully of the personnel section. Now, the only reason you can't delete is because if someone has done work in a job and then you delete that technician out, it could cause a couple of issues. So that's why we just do the disable, but obviously they're not on the personnel list anymore, so it will effectively be like they've been erased from the system. Now that's the personnel, the managed personnel section. We also went through managed states. Remember, this is if you want to delete a state for every single technician, and then the personnel states. Obviously, there's a bit more to that, but just as in a nutshell, the personnel states are if you just want to delete something for one technician or edit something for one technician. Personnel holidays, obviously we went through the way to add a new personnel holidays, this big add button here, and then there's a list of holidays that have been taken, and obviously reasons as well. We always say it's very important to do reasons. If you need to pick someone up about something it was maybe a year ago, if you haven't put a reason, obviously things could be a little bit up in the air with whatever. So it's always beneficial to put a reason in your holidays as well, even if it's just annual leave. Current states, obviously you have this section on the dashboard as well, but it shows you exactly where a technician is, at what time, on what job, and what vehicle that is as well. And obviously the progress is the exact amount of minutes and hours they've been on that job. Started is obviously just when they've started, but if they started 2 hours ago but have only been on it for an hour, they may have taken a break or lunch or something like that. And then the state editing is just going on and manually editing a technician state if they, forgot to log off, forgot to clock in, whatever the reason might be. So that's the personnel section. And then obviously we went through the attendance report and the personnel efficiency report on here as well.
Thanks for watching. For more TechMan webinars, updates, and training content, don't forget to subscribe and explore our other videos. See you next time.